everyone, and welcome to Sprue Review. My name is Violet Sun, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Primaris Ancient, a single model made by Games Workshop for Warhammer 40,000. You have to bear with me a bit today as my voice is a bit messed up. I've got a bit of a cold, but I'll try and edit out all of my sniffly nose. This is the first time I'm reviewing a mini in a blister pack, so let's jump right in and have a look at what one of those is. Games Workshop used to sell quite a lot of their products in blister packs. Ones that kind of worked the opposite way to this. There was a piece of cardboard with a vacuum formed piece of plastic on the front with the actual minis and kind of no real graphics other than the bit of cardboard that was changed for what system you were playing. These modern ones are still very plastic, lots of plastic going on. I don't really know which is better for the environment, a plastic like this that can maybe be recycled or a cardboard box. I think the cardboard was probably easier to recycle, but I'm not an expert on that. So let's have a little look at this pack in particular. Got a nice picture of the Studio Mini here with his very nicely painted flag. You do also have rather a lot of warning text, which does sort of spoil the look. I guess it's a legal requirement. They've got to, let people know not to eat the small bits of Space Marine. But yeah, it would be nice if the miniature was actually the biggest bit of the front of the advertisement rather than so much other information around it. Around the back of the blister pack is much less graphically exciting than most of Games Workshop's cardboard boxes, which usually have some nice pictures of the painted studio miniatures and details of all of the parts of the kit, but you do actually get to see the kit in the back of the blister pack, which is quite nice. I like being able to actually see what I'm buying, and with a cellophane wrapped box you can't start peeling that off in the Games Workshop. They get very cross with you if you try. I quite like this. It's almost a little bit retro for me. I've been collecting Warhammer stuff for a long time, so be able to pick it up and rattle it on it and see what's inside, it's quite nice. With that said, let's take a scalpel to the back of this box to get it open and see what you actually get inside a little more clearly. I tend to open these with an X-Acto knife. Be careful not to slice yourself or your miniature when using sharp knives. Here we have the contents. 2 small sprues with all the parts for this mini, a single base, and the front piece of the packaging, which is also the instruction booklet. So let's have a little look at that. Now this front piece of the packaging turns into an instruction book. It's quite a simple affair, but it is full colour, which does make it a little bit easier to see exactly what you're doing. There are 2 separate builds in this kit, and as such, it takes up a little bit more space than you might imagine. This model is 15 to 17 parts, depending on which version you go for. There's a slightly different breakdown of the parts for the 2 variations. This does include a very, very basic stat line for this guy, although it doesn't have any of the weapon stats, so you'd have to have some other information to make any use of this. It's a bit of a space filler rather than an actual useful inclusion. But given that this is just a little note that's sort of stuffed in the front of the plastic to help you build a model, it's pretty good. It could definitely be far worse. So let's move on to actually looking at some of these sprues. I'm going to start with the Space Marine himself, mostly because the instructions do, rather than it being the most interesting part of the model. I think if you've seen a Primaris Space Marine, you'll be quite familiar with how this guy looks. He has very standard armour. His parts breakdown isn't that different to the Primaris Space Marines that you get in the Intercessor kit, with kind of the front pieces of the shin being made as separate pieces that you then attach to the legs. And of course, the front and back of the torso being made as separate pieces, as has been standard for Space Marines for a very, very long time. We'll note that this guy has a hero rock, distinguishing him as a very important Space Marine, because all important Space Marines find a nice big chunk of rock to stand on before engaging in any combat. There are a couple of unique little details on this model though, like this thigh piece has a little skull with laurel wreaths, and there's a shoulder pad with similar detailing. This is quite an old symbol that's been used to mark out Marine Standard Bearers, and now Ancients, as they are called in more modern publications. One of the new things with this kit, compared to the Primaris Ancient we had previously, is a power sword. Previously it only had a bolter. It's quite a nice power sword. It's got some nice eagle detailing and skulls and kind of the things that you expect from a Space Marine sword. I like the shaping on the crossguard and the proportions. It just looks like a really nice power sword. And you still get the option to build him with a bolt rifle if you want to build a more ranged shooty Primaris Ancient. And let's move on to look at the second sprue, which actually includes the two standards for this model. Now I think it's really nice that you get two different variants. The detailing on them is quite different. If you want to go for a different style for your Marines in particular. This one is quite similar to the previous design, and I guess would be a more standard. And then this one with the big kind of cross shape, I think is more attributed to the Indomitus Crusade. Now you do get two standards, only one body, and the way the arms have been made, out of the box, you couldn't really use both of the flags and just stick one onto another model. It would only take a little effort and a little know-how of basic conversion techniques, though, to end up with two standard bearers. Whether you'd want two Primaris standard bearers in one army, probably not. You could convert one of these flags to work with a firstborn model, or if you've got multiple Space Marine armies, like some idiot like me, you could end up with two standard bearers for different armies from one box. I think it's worth taking a close look at these because the sculpting is really fantastic. All the details are very, very fine. And the way the fabric is draped looks pretty natural to me. Obviously it's a little bit exaggerated because it's a scale miniature, but I think it looks really nice. And the same goes for the second banner. I'm not quite sold on the shape at the bottom of it. It's a little different to what Space Marine banners have been in the past, but I quite like it. I think it's definitely very, very nicely done, and I can see people doing some really nice paintwork on this to make it into their chapters map. Now, toppers for both the banners, there's this winged skull device that's been used on Space Marine banners for a long time. And then there's this skull and the halo device that's a much more modern style. I think this works really nicely for some of the forces that are a bit more fanatical, like Black Templars and such like. Now, one of the other unique parts of this kit is the face sculpt. I don't think this has appeared in any other kit, and looks it's definitely a senior Space Marine, as you can tell by the tiny little service studs bonded into his forehead right there. And he has a bit of an aged look to him as well. He's quite wrinkled and leathery looking, but it's a very characterful face. I do getting some unique Space Marine heads, so you can have a bit of variety in whatever army you're putting together. A couple of other little details like this little reliquary right here, and his pistol and grenade holsters as well, just to make the model look a little less bare and a little bit more ready. Now, I only picked this model up the other day, and it was a bit of an impulse because I saw it there, and I could do with more flags. I do like including them when I field an army. I think it's a very characterful thing for Space Marines to be doing, waving around these bright, colourful banners and proclaiming that they're there rather than, trying to hide from the enemy and not get shot. It's got quite a knightly feel to it, which I think suits Space Marines to a T. I'm not sure which army I'm going to end up building this for. Quite a few of my Space Marine armies already have banners. I might build him as a Crimson Fist. I do like the banner I already have for them, but they could get any better, as the one I've got is a Firstborn rather than Primaris. But as I suggested, this kit is quite easily built into 2 Space Marine banner bearers, so I think I'll probably end up with 2 out of this one kit. Now, if you've done something interesting with this model, I'd love to hear what you've made with it. If this review has been helpful in whether you want to buy this kit or not, please give me a like. I do videos like this every week, so if you want to see more, there are some already on my channel. And if you want to keep up to date, subscribing is the easiest way to keep seeing what I'm putting out. Thanks for watching, and happy hobbying!